Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop, the tabletop talk show where we talk about the tabletop news of the week. It is, of course, April 11th, 2019. This is episode 145. I technically still keep track of those, even though it's probably not needed. I don't know.
Back in our early days.
Grumble, grumble, old man, grumble, grumble, grumble. Of course, joining me as usual is my partner in crime, Joe.
Hola.
As we're going to talk about a bunch of the tabletop news of the week, we have a couple of topics. Dungeons & Dragons Wizards has released a Sage Advice Compenium for Jeremy Crawford's Sage Advice. Kind of a little bit of errata to some things too. They are going to be linking errata to some other books. We have Dungeon Fantasy Companion, which is a kind of compilation of stretch goals that were part of the Dungeon Fantasy role-playing Kickstarter campaign that Steve Jackson Games has put together. Modiphius has released Infinity for the Corvus Belli Infinity role-playing system. The Mercenaries book. Cryptozoic is having the Cryptozoic Con next week, and it will involve social distancing in a big way. Because it's all online. And then both Asmodee and Renegade Game Studios have some print and plays for free that we want to talk about just to let you know about them. So, let's start with the interesting one here at the top of our list is Sage Advice Compenium. So, like, this is our... Sage Advice is like a frequently asked questions kind of thing that Jeremy Crawford, who's like one of the lead rules designers of Dungeons & Dragons at Wizards. If you haven't heard of him, that's the big name you have to know about. That, you know, he is top of the line for this entire thing. So they're releasing an update to this compendium. They've been working on a compendium. Like, you can sort of find the rules compendium as they go, and this is like their big update for things. They've included a couple like things here. A new link to it. There's like... If you didn't know about this, which, like, I've heard about it, but I've never really clicked into it before, this has answered a lot of questions from over the entire time of D&D. It's sort of like the Magic the Gathering rules set. It exists in an actual PDF form that you can find, and it's an abomination that you could read through, but it exists. This is a nice abomination, it's just a lot of random weird questions and erratas.
I think it's very useful for a DM who's trying to make a decision on a ruling on something that's not clear in the book. I honestly, I would print it out and have it handy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to go, oh, let me check something. There is a ruling on this. Here is what it is. I mean, you're still welcome to obviously come up with your own rules and stuff, or a different ruling than what they suggest. But if you're trying to figure it out and you're teetering on something, this definitely can help you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of it's a little obvious.
Yeah, some of it can be a little obvious, but it's like those little questions because it doesn't state things, and so this is like making sure you understand a little bit more. Like, people are asking, because something like in... A good example is Pathfinder 3.5, 3.0... ability, like, feats were level dependent, not class dependent. While in this one, they do, like, specify for multi-classing.
I think you mean D&D, not Pathfinder.
I meant 3.5 D&D.
Yeah, you said Pathfinder 3.5, 3.0.
Yeah, that's why I was listing off the three systems. I wasn't calling them D&D 3.5. I wasn't saying D&D 3.5, D&D 3.0.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I understand I know, I understand the confusion, but, like, that's what I was meaning, you know. I should have gone the other direction. 3.0, 3.5,
and
Pathfinder all have it that, like things like feats, and ability score-ups for... I don't remember if they, like... Yeah, I think it was every 4 levels. You got ability score-ups in...
yeah, it was every 4 levels.
In 3.0,
3.5, yeah.
Yeah. All that stuff was your total level dependent. Now the ability score improvements are class level dependent, and they do actually say that. It's one of those things that you don't think about.
Yeah, it threw me off originally, too, because I'm like, oh, that changed. Oh, okay.
So it's like you might almost want to take 4 levels in a multi-class rather than just dip a toe into it, kind of thing. You want to like take that to get those big points.
Right, and it also slightly discourages multi-classing, in my opinion, just because, well, at least dipping. It discourages.
It discourages dipping a lot.
You're going to lose that stat up then,
which can be very helpful in a lot of ways, depending on what your class is and what that stat up will do. If you're a goddamn monk, that's AC DCs for your abilities, something like that. If you're like a wizard, that's like your spell save DCs, your attack bonus,
or even a feat.
A rogue dexterity, that could be like bonuses. And granted, like maybe you don't need all the ability score ups. You might go to places where you'd like be just putting it in junk areas, so it might push off those capstones until later on in your class thing. But it was questions like that are interesting to look into here.
Yeah, I thought one of the obvious ones, to me at least, was like, is natural armor considered light armor? No.
Oh, yeah.
It's natural armor.
But it's one of those things, is like when you're talking about comparing stuff of like a monster to stuff that a PC would have, they don't have a transition point. Especially
you could get like an amulet. Well, at least you could. I don't know all the magic items anymore, but like something of natural armor.
They don't have that anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, that because of grant players natural armor anymore. It's not a specific bonus. It's just that, like, if you look at a monster, you can calculate that there's a big chunk of AC sometimes in them that you're like, where did that come from? And the answer is natural armor.
Natural armor.
Yeah. Right. Subtract the dex bonus from their AC, and what's the rest? Natural armor most of the time. Or it'll say if they're wearing some kind of armor.
Right.
But yeah. Granted, like, this list has existed before, but this is like the updated list with all the kind of stuff from some of the later books now too. One more thing on twinning spells for sorcerers, and I don't think we've talked about it before, even though it's like had updates here and there. That's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to bring it in now, is that we haven't hit on it.
Yeah.
And the information that's in here, and it's good stuff to talk about.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it also has updates from everything from the player's handbook all the way to Mordekaisen's Tome of Foes.
Yeah.
And Xanathar's Guide. So, I mean, those are newer books.
Well, again, like you have to look at the where are they have all the errata links in here too. You'd have to copy and paste them, but it's got all those like these are the answers in the PDF, and then the links to the errata are also in the PDF for all the books and stuff.
But it's nice to have one place to look instead of having to go to, what book did that come from? Let me see if there's an errata on that.
And Out of the Abyss, the Tome of Foes, and Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and the Player's Handbook all have had their erratas updated.
Oh,
like, so even like the Player's Handbook, this goddamn thing, which has been out forever, has errated, erratas that have just came out this year then with that.
Here's something interesting I don't think either of us realize. You can't delay your turn to take it later in the round.
Oh.
It says, can you delay your turn to take it later in the round? No. When it's your turn, either you do something or you don't. If you don't do anything, consider taking the dodge action so at least you'll have some extra protection. If you want to wait to act in response to something, take a readied action, which lets you take you part of your turn later. So you can ready an action, but you can't just delay your action.
Oh, so like we always remember the old delay. So that's one of those things, and they give their reasons why the delay doesn't exist then. So yeah, I think like one of those things is like we also for English, like a lot of times that I've said like nowadays, like even like your game, ready, I'm really delaying, I'm really readying,
right.
And it's like we've always unfortunately used those a little bit more interchangeable when they're not. Just one of those things. Oh, wow.
So I thought that was an interesting one to bring up, because it's like,
Final system subject. The closing phrase is replaced with the following: unless you're replacing a spell you gained at 3rd, 8th, 14th, or 20th level from any school of magic. Wow, there is like, I can see that already. They do have like weird new errata, and I'm just checking the player's handbook errata. They don't. So far, I've only seen one. Oh no, there's another one. Wow. Yeah. Again, like they have like just a couple of new errata in the PHB. I want to check it out. But no, going back, as you were saying.
Yeah, no, I just thought that was an interesting one, that it was like, oh, it's something, you don't... Players who have been playing a long time might not really realize, oh, they got rid of X, like delaying your turn. And the reasons they state make sense, like duration of spells and everything that can really mess up with that. Because, like, say you cast a spell that lasts the end of your next turn, you're first in combat, and you just say, I want to delay my turn to the end of that round, you're getting extra use of that spell then.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I understand, the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of different things to like kind of hit into with a lot of these things, because it's like some of it's definitely a little bit of common sense questions, but it's also like maybe you don't pick it up from the things. Like rolling 1 an ability check an automatic failure, rolling 1 ability check or saving throw is not an automatic failure. Rolling a 1 an automatic miss on an attack roll. That's the only time.
Right.
Just on attack rolls is 1 an automatic anything. So, yeah. It's like, I think it almost needs, like, it's things that need a little bit of clarification sometimes, too. And I think that's where everything comes in. Like, they say certain things in the books, and they don't want to, like, overwhelm you with words. That's why, like, that's the only thing is, like, verbose systems versus each other. D&D, Pathfinder. Granted, the Pathfinder book also includes a lot more other stuff that the D&D book doesn't. This is like a DMG light. I'd say, like, the DMG for D&D is a lot bigger than the one for Pathfinder, because, like, they include a lot of different things in the Pathfinder D&D DMG, and they include basics in the core rulebook. They make it a core rulebook rather than a player's guide. Oh, I should pat it the correct direction for saying that. And that's a difference in the book design, but you can tell also by the wording. The player's handbook is meant to be very rules light in a way, just to give you the basics. But the problem with that is then you get to these questions, and there are a bunch of them.
Yeah, I like another one I saw is in the grappling rules. Say I grapple you, then drop prone. Are we now prone together? Mm-hmm. And it says, no, a creature you're grappling isn't knocked prone if you become prone. You are now holding onto the creature from a prone position.
I'm just laying down and holding onto your legs.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not on a move.
It's just like, I just slid down your body, that's all.
No,
there's lots of interesting rulings here, and I think they're all really good.
Mm-hmm. So it's good to check them over. Again, there's not a lot of big updates to the Compenium right now. This is the one that exists, but again, it's one of the things I was saying. We haven't really talked about the Sage Advice Compendium before. So bringing it in for you guys to, like, know about it is one of the things that we like are like, hey, this is something we haven't talked about. We should have. And we'll try to keep you apprised, like, the next update or something that might be helpful to know about.
Yeah.
But let us pop on to the next topic, though, now that we've talked about that one, to Dungeon Fantasy Companion.
GURPS.
It is supposed to be
powered by GURPS.
I know. It is using the GURPS system.
And it's Steve Jackson.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they say Dungeon Fantasy Companions Dungeon Fantasy role-playing game, but it could work with GURPS Fantasy. It's specifically meant for their, like, fantasy, their own version of, like, a D&D based off of GURPS. It's like taking two different World of Darkness games. They are technically compatible, but that's technically. Like, Werewolf and Vampire are technically compatible because they're effectively the same system, but there does need to be, like, a little bit of, like, Legoing in together kind of thing. Not a lot of work, but a little bit.
Or Mage and Werewolf.
Yeah, you're still Legoing them in together a little bit, like trying to figure out, like, you know, these blocks don't quite fit together. Let's just adjust them a little bit so they do. And that's what it's supposed to be for Dungeon Fantasy GURPS. But, I mean, they're basically the same. But this is a compilation that they're 78-page black and white for $20 that has 3 of their stretch goals that they had for when they did the Dungeon Fantasy role-playing game Kickstarter. Their traps, stretch goal, magic items, and Against the Ratman little adventure. It's already played to the I Smell a Rat, offers heroes. I'm guessing it's like an adventure that came with the things. Now, I think you can get like came with one of the books, or you could have already gotten, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can get, like, the big box. Storm, it looks like it comes with...
Well, the thing is...
pre-order PDF, character sheet for monster traps, diseases, poison sheet, spell sheet, pre-generated character, Giant, and pre-generated character, Emily Elms.
Okay, the Dungeon Fantasy role-playing game includes the I Smell a Rat adventure that's supposed to kickstart campaigns, and this is Against the Rat.
I Smell a Rat, exploits, monsters, spells, and adventures are the 4 or the 5 books that you can get.
But right now, this one here, the Dungeon Fantasy Companion, now granted, I'm going to tell you here, the traps, magic item, and Against the Ratman, you can all get them in PDF form for $6 a piece, which is cheaper. This is for $20 for a soft cover. So it is a combination of an actual printed book of all 3 of those PDFs. So that's why I'm like, yes, it's more expensive before people, like, catch off guard here, you know. And yes, you could get each of those PDFs individually. Still, they do offer them on the on Steve Jackson's site. But
for $40, you can get all 5 of the PDFs.
Mm-hmm. But they have offered out right now.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, again, they're putting out a print version of this stuff that they've kind of, I guess, they put it up in PDF form post-Kickstarter after everybody got their stuff. They put it up for sale, which makes sense. A lot of people do that. You know, they have a limited window where people get it just as part of the Kickstarter, and then they offer money for some of these things. That's normal for some of these things. But it's nice to see that they're actually putting out a print version of all of them to come out and Compenium together. So it's a little bit here. Steve Jackson Games has actually been doing a lot of reprints of GURPS stuff, too. So, like, that's what they've been doing a lot of lately. We haven't seen a lot of Munchkin other than the coloring book, which we talked about last week. Now it's been mostly, like, the Dungeon Fantasy stuff like this, and then, like, GURPS classics that are printing now.
Maybe they're starting to run out of ideas. I mean, Munchkin's been around for a very long time, and they've delved into, like, almost everything.
I think the thing is more, like, focusing on the GURPS is actually more helpful in this time period, because they're PDFs.
Yeah, unless you're doing print and play cards.
Which don't really work very well. You know, as much as it's like, yo, print and play.
Unless you're spending the money to buy photo paper.
Yeah.
That, you know, or thicker, you know, paper stock that can actually stand up to it.
And granted, I'm sure that we will see, they do have, like, more stuff coming in the future, like, up into May and stuff that, you know, they are working on some more Munchkin games. They have one out that's scheduled out for June right now. So it's like it's not like they're not doing anything. It's just like there has been this large refocus here that, like, I don't know if they were originally planning to have all these out now. So, it's kind of hard to say.
They have Munchkin Party of one thing about how to play with yourself.
Sounds about right. Oh, Steve Jackson Games. We'll have to see how, like, things go for their releases, though, as we continue through our global goings-on here, definitely. So, but I think we should continue to move on, because we do have more topics to talk about. We're going to talk about Infinity, a new book out by them. We were talking.
Modiphius.
Yeah, we were talking about Infinity a little bit. How it's more. I forget what we were talking about with Infinity just a while ago. It was my brain forgets these things. Corvus Belli's Infinity. They have a new book out. Mercenaries. It's their big non-Star Trek space adventure series, and now you can be a mercenary. I mean, there's probably more to it than that, but
yeah, soldiers of fortune, bodyguards, pirates, cutthroats, and heroes.
Mm-hmm. It's 114 full-color book, which is the only thing I always say about Modiphius and their books is they are full-color. For £8, that's a PDF though.
But that's still rather good. That's about $10
for a full-color PDF. Yeah. Information on the 6 major mercenary companies in the human sphere, plus independent units for a couple others. Rules and guidelines to have your own command in the war market. Weapons, equipments, and vehicles to add to your mercenaries. Things like anti-tank stuff, some drug and enhancement drugs, supplies, and rules for building your own mercenary company or play mercenary campaign. Which I guess is like space adventurers. I always see mercenaries as a little bit, that's the easy way.
Your guns for hire.
Yeah, your guns for hire. Which, granted, like, there are other versions of space adventurers, like, you can do, like, smugglers, mercenaries. It's always those people that are kind of, like, on the bounty hunters, edge of the law, which can be close to space adventurers, but, like, unfortunately, a lot of times they can be shoehorned very easily. I feel like mercenaries is probably the least shoehorned. Like, if I would say, like, a smuggler, well, you're smuggling goods. You're going to, like, doing illegal things and stuff like that. Mercenaries, you're hired on to do some kind of job that usually needs guns.
Yeah, it could be a government saying, okay, we don't have enough soldiers, or we need an elite group.
It could be someone that's like, I'm going to hire mercenaries on for guard duty, or like, oh, this planet has some kind of hostile aliens. I'm going to send in mercenaries rather than my own people to take care of it.
Right, or it's an operation that you don't want to be directly in. You don't want it to be traced back to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of opening for mercenaries, and that's why I'm very happy to see this kind of book for this type of adventure. I feel like, again, I'm sure all of you out there could be like, oh, I could do this with like a smuggler campaign, or this with the other kind of like, gang member campaign, like space, like gang campaign, or I don't know. I'm running out of steam on the other alternates other than like your Han Solo types, that you can be a little bit more open-ended for your adventures. And I'm sure you can. But I feel like, again, like, it's less easy to shoehorn something in, is what I'm basically saying, to a mercenary campaign, because you can explain of, like, people hire you. Weapons are needed, people hire you. There's a lot of reasons to need weapons, and people hire you. So, neat to say it. Infinity is an interesting looking system. It's like one of the ones that I think has been on my list to check out at some point in time. There's plenty of them that are on my list to check out at some point in time, though, so I can't really, like, I can't put it very high, because there's, like, a few, like, probably at this point in time, there's, like, a couple dozen systems on my list.
Eventually we'll get to the every other Sunday on that.
Yeah, hopefully I will get that relatively soon. I organized a lot of stuff together to do it, I just haven't had us do it. Like, I do have the Infinity Quick Start. But Anyway, yeah. So Infinity, Mercenaries is out now. They don't have. They've had a decent number of books out for this system, so it's good. Again, I always like to see that they've been actually putting out a lot of books this year that have been supporting some of their other systems. Like we saw the Conan one the other week. You know, just a little bit of here. I'm sure there's some other ones that'll be like really neat to see more of. Like, I loved Space 1889. Love to see something put out for that again. And there's a couple other lists of like their various RPG systems I would love to see more releases for. But anyway, let's still pop on more because we do want to end a little early today. We got a schedule. Let us move on from this to, of course, Cryptozoic Con.
Online con.
Yeah, this is an interesting thing. So Cryptozoic Con is holding their convention. Oh, that's not the right page. Don't you mess with me. Don't you mess with him, Firefox. I'm trying to like get the con like logo here. There we go. It should have fight with me. What was it like last week? We had the technical issues that it did not want to capture the one side.
Yeah, and you had to restart. You had to restart the browser.
Yeah. But anyway, there we go. Cryptozoic Con from April 16th to 17th. It's going to be completely virtual. They're doing an entire virtual attempt. It's going to be various live streams. The company's going to preview products in all their categories, conduct giveaways, offer behind-the-scenes looks at product development, present play sessions, tutorials featuring popular games. Subject product will be sold on their store during the event. So effectively, like, their online store will have special things popping up on it to coincide the event. So as if you were there at the con, you could do it. Let's see here. They have a full schedule that can be found on their site for checking out what's being offered. They say check out their social medias. Of course. So the first day of the event, they are saying that they're going to be doing 2 exclusive vinyl figures, blue and pink Harley Quinn, part of the DC Little Bombshells line, Concert Cerberus from the Cryptozoic line, and 2 exclusive Outlander Convention wardrobe cards for the Outlander fans. So they're offering a bunch of stuff. And they're going to be, like, things like the new Epic Spell Wars Battle of Wizards is going to be previewed and a bunch of other stuff during that time period. Now the question I've really got here, where's it streaming at? That's the question I have.
Hold on, let's see. Fans follow the company's social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram to access live streams and stay up to date on the event.
Now, there is a live streaming on Facebook I know about. There is an actual live stream on Facebook. I only know of, like, I've only heard of, like, one person that's on there, like, quite literally. So
I've seen live stream events on Facebook before.
So that might be where it's at on their Facebook live stream event, which is like, okay, great, cool. I mean, it's like, great for you. I'm not in a very big supporter of Facebook, let me put it that way, for all the problems I've had with them. So that's just me. So personally, if that's what they want to choose, good for them. It's fine. It's a fine platform. I'm sure it works fine. And it'll be good for them to show off all their stuff for it.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. It looks like they'll be streaming on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I almost tried to combine Instagram and Twitter together.
Instagram and Twitter, though, don't really have a...
Twitter doesn't, but Instagram, I think that you can do stream.
Not really. You can, like, do, like, a little, like... video thing, like a live video thing for a little bit, but there's no, like,
I wasn't sure.
It's not long as far as I recall, and it doesn't have, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Feedback at all, which they might not be looking for feedback either, though. That's a good question about the entire thing. I don't know.
Yeah, because the links that they have on at the bottom is just Cryptozoic.com, Facebook.com, Cryptozoic, Twitter.com, Cryptozoic, and Instagram.com, Cryptozoic Entertainment.
Yeah. I checked their Twitter. It just kind of links back to that stuff. So I'm assuming.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like it's going to be on like Twitch or anything.
Yeah, which I mean, there are technically other streaming platforms, like as we said, Facebook has one. YouTube you can technically stream on, and there's like a few others, but I don't know. You know, we'll see. They haven't specifically mentioned which one they're on. Is the only thing that I'm kind of like a little like weirded out by. But again, like I'm assuming it's probably going to be the Facebook one. It's the only thing that seems logical because that's the only place that they're kind of saying other than everywhere else. But again, like their full schedule is up for when they're talking about stuff, what they're talking about. So like a good example is like if you wanted to hear about the Epic Spell Wars preview and a giveaway, it's at 12 p.m. on April 17th or 12:30 p.m. on April 17th. So, you know, they at least have that. But that's I just realized the 18th next week is Saturday. It's a Thursday Friday show that they're doing. I guess I guess they figure enough people are home. I know that like does make sense. There are enough people are home that it could logically be that way. But I'm curious as if like they planned it out to those dates anyway. I don't know. It's kind of like this. It feels a little weird for the direction at that point in time. I'd say like the time period. I always felt like cons are really weekend things. So, oh. Regardless, though, that's when you're looking forward to it. If you are going to be involved with that Cryptozoic Con has been, if you're looking forward to it. God. English. Breakdown brain. Not work now good. I thought you're supposed to say exactly and agree with my stupidity.
sometimes it's fun to just let it go.
Just let me keep babbling on and, like, you lose the ability to speak English completely.
It's funny sometimes.
No, I won't, I guess, argue with you with that one. Anyway, hey! We got some print and plays that you might be interested in for free. These are free print and plays, and it's quite a list here. Asmodee has provided a list. I'm going to throw this link up into our...
Asmodee's doing a lot.
This is a big list here of print and plays.
And I think the two biggest names on that list are going to be Catan. Or Catan. Why am I saying Catan?
Because we always saw the Settlers of Catan for a long time, and it is Catan, but we never got it corrected in our brains very early on because the person that we learned the game from went Catan.
Yeah.
Catan.
For some reason, we added an N in there. And then the other one is Dixit.
Dixit's another one that's... Dixit's going to be hard to print out with those crazy, because it's a matter of, like, you're going to have
It's going to be a lot of ink.
Yeah, it's like some of these you could definitely go black and white. This is not a black and white one. Because...
Dixit, you need the colors.
Yeah. Yeah, and they look really nice. It's supposed to be two-sided cards, I can tell by just looking at this here, because every other page is just the backgrounds of Dixit. It's... The thing about this print-and-play thing of cards here is it feels like a... I don't know if it's the same amount as the normal game. It might be, but it's 9 times 4. 30. It's only 36 cards I see here.
I don't remember how many were in the basic, but I think that's less.
Yeah.
But it's free, so you can't really complain too much.
Yeah. So, like... But a 36-card game is not really big, you know? I feel
like... Well, I think it's also they're expecting, people are just playing with whoever's in their house.
Yes, it's
not like you're going to have a match... Like, you're not going to have, 10 people playing.
No, and, it might be enough to play the game. Is the only thing I think about it. Like, it would be like a limited capacity play of it, but it would be a capacity to play.
Oh, and the stuff for Catan is 4 coloring books and an Easter Bunny scenario.
Huh. Yeah.
So it's not like a full
Free print play versions
actual.
of some of the most popular games. So they are versions of some of these things, is what they're doing
Yeah.
a little bit too.
Yeah. So like the Easter Bunny one isn't a lot to it.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I don't know. It's neat. It definitely is, but it's the unfortunate thing that I like. They definitely have gone. They're not going like super ridiculous. Yeah, like the little Easter bunny thing is like a little
Really
adorable thing.
simple.
And
Yeah, it's for kids.
yeah, it's supposed again. Like I feel like that's one of those things. You're most of the time that we're talking about being stuck at home. It's stuck at home with your kids. And so like doing something cutesy and nicer is not necessarily a bad thing in this time period. So I can't bust them for not giving you like a full settlers setup or something. That like this is just like a little simple thing. Um,
Now, Unlock actually has a lot of different things. There's the guide, but then there's the Elite Fifth Adventure, Do Aron Dungeon, The Pursuit of the
mhm.
Cabrakan, and then Temple of Ra. So there's a bunch of different scenarios for those.
Yeah. So I mean, like
Cool.
again, like I feel like some of this stuff that they're offering is not necessarily like screaming at me, "Hey, this is like great PDF stuff that they're offering for free." They are offering a bunch
It's
of stuff for
yeah,
free,
it's
like
stuff.
PDFs.
It's stuff to fill the gaming niche a little bit.
Yeah, that's effectively what it is. Is it the best stuff they're offering on Asmodee? No. Is it neat stuff that they're offering on Asmodee? Yeah, I'll give you that much. Again, like, 36 Dixit cards, not really a lot, but you could have small Dixit games with people. You could
Yeah.
have some kind of limited game of Dixit, and it would probably be fun. And they are saying that they will be coming out with more stuff. This is just what they could put together now, so we might see some more interesting things coming out. Like, they might put more things out to some of these already. Like they might put out some more Dixit cards or put out something different for Catan. We don't know what they're going to put, or some other
I mean,
games.
I can understand, especially if they're doing it free, they don't want to put out the full game
Yeah,
because then they're cutting their own, throats on later sales.
but printed plays are so sad. Like you have to have such high quality printer and stuff, and like at that point in time, if you're doing a print and play, it's like why didn't you just buy the goddamn game? you know?
Yeah, I'm just saying because they're doing it for free.
Yeah.
I can see why they're not giving you everything.
On the other hand, we have heard that there's another one that is getting a print and play. Kind of moving
Yes.
on from that one. Renegade Game Studios has their Wonderland print and play, which I don't know a lot about their Wonderland game. Again, it's another one of those things where I feel like the pages have to be two-sided in a way.
Ooh, the cards are beautiful.
Yeah, the cards are really neat. I have to figure out what the game had in it to begin with.
Well, they do have the rule book. Download the Wonderland rule.
Yeah, here we go. Let's check out the rule book. Yeah, the stuff looks really cool. Okay, so it was 18 cards. Okay. So the game was literally 18 cards. Okay, I can see how many are in the PDF here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 16, 17, 18. Yeah, so they give all 18 cards. I mean, it's a simple game. That's the thing about this one. It is a relatively simple game. It's 18 cards. It does have
7 Alice cards, 7 Red Queen cards, and 4 Wonder cards.
Yeah. And this is a game that they had out since 2018. So, I feel like that's actually a good move, too, is that rather than, they're going back in time for, a game that's been out for a while that maybe doesn't have as good of a sales as it used to before. You know, it's like you've been out for a couple years, your sales have dropped off. We're going to do a free print and play of this. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, the rules are rather simple. There's only a few pages.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. It seems like it's a 2-player game is the only thing here, because it's...
yeah, it's the Red Queen versus Alice.
Yeah. So, I mean, that does limit, you know, how a lot of... Again, it's the same thing of, like, when you're printing cards that are this colorful and this nice, it's like getting the best quality is very difficult. You know, getting that super quality that maybe you'd get from something of, like, an actual copy of the game. You know, this is just like... I need something different. This is what I could do, kind of thing. And it's great for them to offer it. You know, I feel like free game, very awesome of Renegade Game Studios. I will link this in our Twitch chat also, just because, you know, I think that's a good thing to do. And it'll be in the link when this is up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So.
I just looked over the entire rules. It's pretty dang simple. Each card has a score on it, and you can increase or decrease the amount scored on cards with potions and cakes. Potions turn a card to 0 points, where cakes double the rank of the adjacent card.
Interesting.
And if you have a potion next to a card that a cake's next to, it's still worth 0, because double 0 is still 0.
Yes, makes sense.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's interesting things. It's good to see that we're getting some interesting support from some companies nowadays for offering things for people to keep them engaged. And I think, like, as much as Asmodee, I feel like, is a little the cheaper side, it still is goodwill. I feel like Renegade's offering is a little better goodwill if you compare the two of them, but it's still, like, it's what substance you get out of it anyway. You might get more out of the Asmodee stuff than you get out of the Renegade Game Studio stuff.
Well, basically what you're getting is either one full game, or you're getting a bunch of sample games.
Yeah.
So they're using it not only as a way that... I think they're using it not just a way to give you something, but also advertise their games. Like, here's a sample of a game. If you like it, they also have links right next to it for the full game. So it's kind of like, hey, we're going to give you a little taste of this, and if you like it, you can buy it later on once stores are back open. I think they're kind of also using it as a marketing tool as well.
Oh, no, I can see that. Asmodee is definitely much more of a company that would do that kind of thing. I have to say, they are a much bigger, you know, front and center advertisement kind of group, which I can't complain to them about it. Again, like, both have very good merits. Like, Renegade's offered a 2-player game. It's situational if your household a 2-player game like that would be helpful in.
Yeah.
So, in comparison to, like, the households that need all that family stuff. So...
Of course, if you have more than 2 people, you could have multiple copies, and all 2 people versus 2 people, and
play in pairs. Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's options there. There's options. But all right, let's move on to the rest of our segments. I forgot to put the docket into chat because I'm silly, but it should have come up at some point in time. But our regular segments, we do not have a deeper discussion as usual. We're physically not with each other.
Yeah.
Period. You know, we're being good. We're doing stuff online right now. Do you have a Kickstarter for the Kickstarter Korner?
I want to just mention quickly.
Okay. I saw a couple, but I decided, like, just because we had more of the time constraints today, that I wasn't going to put one in. So, if you have one, that's perfectly fine.
I'm just going to mention it. It's a quick blurb. There's someone doing a replica of the Jumanji board game from the movie.
Oh, the wood one.
For the 25th anniversary. Hand-carved pieces, hand-carved board. It has a digital screen underneath the board to actually produce the writing and stuff.
Oh, in the little circle thing in the middle, it does, like, the writing with the digital screen. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and the pieces can move magnetically.
Oh, that's neat.
So I thought it was something cool to throw out there. It's for the 25th anniversary of the original Jumanji movie, and the artwork is fantastic.
Of course, they're trying to like recreate the like awesome artwork that was in them.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's hand carved.
Yeah.
So it's just like you can see they have all the detail, everything perfect, and I just figured it was a cool shout out. They're at 80,349, and oh god, their goal was 5,467. They blew past their goal.
Well, I think what their basic idea for the original goal was probably not a huge amount. It was probably just the basic amount for like some of the basic materials or like crafting supplies they needed. Kind of thing, yeah. Probably. Just some of the basics that they could make them. So, I'm assuming what it is like, the amount doesn't really matter on this type of thing, because the amount people are paying in will pretty much get them their product, kind of thing.
Oh god, they're already on their second batch now, because their first three are gone. The Super Early Bird Replica, and the Kickstarter Special Replica are all sold out.
Wow.
So for 269, I think that's euros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$295.
Yeah, you can get the Kickstarter Replica second batch. So it's not a cheap thing, but I mean, it's hand carved. That's why. I mean, you're getting high level detail. You can order the replica from us only on Kickstarter. We'll not offer it after the campaign ends. It will not be available for distribution and sale. So if you want this, you have to get it within the next 11 days.
Yeah. No, because it's like what? Like the first batch was supposed to be coming out in August. This is for like coming in out in September. And if this sells out, I'm sure that they'll have like a third batch maybe that they can like empty. Because I think that's what I feel like that's kind of the reason behind it, kind of too, is they're spreading it out too. So it's like that makes sense almost. Like you've got like the early adopters who are going to get their first ones. You know, so it's like we can do these number of orders this month. You know.
And they hit all their stretch goals, which is a mystery t-shirt, poster, laser engraving with backer name on the bottom of the case, and a foam pad with map graphics. So they hit all of them. The last one was the 70,000 goal, and they're at 80.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want a piece of nostalgia and something that's beautifully and painstakingly done, you have 11 days to decide.
So, anyway, cool. Let's move on to our next one. Our Week in Tabletop. Hey, we had a few things this week, not as much, because Tuesday got canceled out. One of the players got sick, so all of Tuesday got canceled out. We had Grinding Gears on Sunday, which
yes.
I have to say I loved and hated that session so much. It was a very good session, but it was all a dream. You pulled an all a dream on us, man. You know, is that weird thing of like we it's that love-hate you put us with there.
I know, and I felt a little bad about it, but I thought it kind of made sense of, hey, this is kind of the, the final test of all the, random trainings that you guys have been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, now you get to put everything together into a big scenario. But then it's like, oh, and you wake up. And you don't have any of the reward. But you still got the experience. You guys are leveling. And are now hitting 6th level. And are allowed to redo your characters with any dark matter stuff. I also gave you guys some feats. So you had the option, to have, certain roles on the ship. So it should be interesting to see what changes. I think the person who's going to have the biggest change is going to be Unfunny, because Rimby is, I know, going to become the Gadgeteer, which is basically Dark Matter's sci-fi version of the Artificer. So he's going to get a whole bunch of new abilities.
Yep. And then we did do our Pathfinder game where we didn't do a huge lot of it. They arrived at the city of McCready again. It's under siege now. You got a new friend, and you'll be theoretically meeting another new friend next week. Which, I mean, I'll be going up in players that I might have like 6 players a week, but with the consistency of certain people, it's been kind of like random, so I've been fine with it. And it's an off-stream game too, so like
yeah.
I don't mind having extra people because then you can just play around with stuff like that. And your NPC doesn't do jack diddly. I specifically built him so he doesn't do jack diddly except be like information.
Yeah, he's an information.
He's a sorcerer with 3 attack spells, and one of them is magic missile. It's like, well, I can magic missile them.
Yes.
Which is useful, but it's not that useful.
It helps.
Yeah, no, it's like some extra damage. He's like, poo. He's like a 9th level sorcerer. He just doesn't have attack spells. At all.
Or buff spells, really.
No, he took things like, like detecting magic, all that stuff that's like really great for utility. Like lore. Yeah, he took utility shit.
Yeah.
Because he was a bookworm and like
I get it.
But
it totally makes sense.
And then we did do Children of Wrath, of which you've reached the giant Leviathan and its city on its back of Slinvoda, which has been really interesting so far.
Oh, yeah. And we get to add some more under the sea.
Yeah.
Adventures.
It's like, I hope I instilled like the different kind of emotions, like the arc of being like, you're stuck in a small area together going insane, followed by like the, oh my god, what the hell is this thing that we're getting ourselves into, because it's in like a 2,000-foot long Leviathan with a city on its back. It might be longer than that. I don't actually have a good way of measuring the goddamn thing from the art images, And
most of us are now stuck in our rooms unless we get magical help to explore the city.
Yeah.
Which also we got to be careful because our rooms just have force bubbles around them.
Well, they're effectively like force. They're like walls of force that are a little like they can shift a little bit.
Yes.
So that's why they're kind of like a bubble. So it's probably like one level higher than your average wall of force in a different spell. Then it's not much different. But they're like, well, it's a wall of force. You mean you can destroy a wall of force. They're also like, the light system, that's internal water. It will flood your room if you open it up, Be careful with that, too.
Don't cast Shatter in your room.
No. Which I thought
they also lock you into your room.
I thought the idea of, like, having, like, little feeding stations for, like, a, like, internal thing of, like, glowing shrimp in a network that they, like, get lured into rooms, it was kind of neat.
No, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I was trying to think of ways that make it feel like maybe it's almost like this society that's found interesting ways to feel a little bit more like modern, because that's always how magic feels. It has like this taste of like sometimes modern sensibilities in a very like fantasy kind of way, because it's a high magic world. It's an incredibly high magic world. Magic is like a cube. It's the name of the game. It's a name of the world. It is like the lifeblood of the world. There have been goddamn skyships. They're like submersibles are a thing. I'm saying like they're very rare, but they are an invention that exists. They feel like very Jules Verne submersible. That's the point of it. But it's like I'm trying to like instill all this kind of cool stuff. That makes it feel like the world it's supposed to be.
We're massively enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm just terrified that my Phyrexian traveler in my head might come out while I'm in this freaking room.
I'm saving him for special occasions.
Yeah, I figured.
Uh-huh.
I'm not looking forward to that.
So, anyway, and that was pretty much our week in tabletop, I think. I got a chance to do a little bit of Mysterium late at night with some folks, but that was, it's normal. It's Mysterium. It's a fun one. Like when you get an invite at like 11:30 at night to be like, hey, do you want to play some Mysterium? Like, sure. I'm awake. Why not? I could invite people. Oh, wait, they're all asleep. Like, everyone else that I could play with was asleep. But it's West Coast folks, so what you gonna do when they invite you to do something?
What you gonna do when they come for you?
Mm-hmm. It's 8:30 at night for them.
Yes.
I think that's it for tabletop for this week.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's been a good week. But, I think, again, we're right on our timing as we were aiming to end around 3 today. As I said, we were trying to aim early today. We'll just kind of call it here. Last thing, consult the table. If you have any questions to throw into Twitch chat here, into the comments below when this video is up on YouTube, or to reach us at one of the various places too. At Twitter, at TJCoven for me, at JWSeeker81 for Joe, where you can either just at us, or we do have direct messages open on Discord. You can hit up the link down below to my Discord channel, where you can join the channel and chat there in one of the various places. There's a section for Discussing Tabletop, or you will see us over in the people that are members of that area, and you can direct us, message us too also that way. If it's a question we can answer you then and there, we will. Oh, and I can't forget discussingtabletop@yahoo.com for the email. If it's something that we feel like is more, we can answer and still would be good to bring up here on the show, we will bring it up here on the show if it's some kind of question. That's effectively it is. So it's like, we tell you, we'll answer questions for you. And the other thing is, if it's something that, other people could help to learn about, we'll talk about it here. So, alright everybody, we're going to head out this week. It's a little bit of a shorter show. We started a little early, we're ending a little early, kind of thing. But we figured it would be. Have yourselves a great rest of your weekend. If you're looking for more stuff, I will be doing my Divinity Original 2, Divinity with Lots of Sin, which I did last week. I hope you join me there. It'll be starting at 4, so about an hour. I'm going to go get some food and get ready for that then, where we roleplay our characters. And then maybe a stream tomorrow. Otherwise, look forward to the RPGs, Records of Evil, Legacies of Kain on Tuesday, Children of Wrath on Thursday, and of course, 2 Sundays from now, which we'll talk about next week.
Not this Sunday, but the following one.
Yeah, Grinding Gears. We continue those adventures too.
Yep.
We're gonna run off. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, because we're all stuck inside. And have yourselves a great rest of your Saturday if you're not joining for anything else, or see you in an hour, and a great rest of your weekend at least. So, bye.
Bye.